So, as much as I would like to save face and say that I knew this card existed all along and, basically just essentially lie, that's not how I'd like to do things around here. I like to kind of found things on this channel with, a specific basis of truth behind it and backing it in my words. Like, I want to make sure that, like, no matter what happens, like, people don't think I'm actually just lying to them. That's not how I roll in life or with creating content. But yeah, I never actually knew this card existed. Every time people would talk to me about it or say its name, I always just assumed that they were saying Ebon Illusion Magician's name wrong. The Shonen Jump promo. And I was like, yeah, that card's cool. You special a vanilla out of your deck, and you attack and you destroy cards. That seems okay. I mean, it's nothing like groundbreaking that we haven't known about for a while. So, yeah, I never actually knew that Ebon Void Magician was a card, nor the fact that it's been released. And so it's a really cool card. So I figured I just want to talk about it because I actually am curious, GM, to have some of your guys' opinions on this card as well. Because I didn't know this card existed until literally yesterday when I was playing some casual games on DEVpro, played against the Dark Magician deck. This card came up, was summoned, and it was actually really good in the situation that it was summoned. So either the card is actually just like really good because, like, in my eyes, I think this card is pretty decent and actually potentially really good, but that was also just the only situation I've ever seen it played. So I could absolutely just be wrong in my assumption of this card is decent or good, but I still think it's worth maybe warranting play of a one-of because the Dark Magician extra deck is actually really loose. But anyway, card is Ebon Void Magician, as you have seen over here. It is a Dark Spellcaster Exceeds Effect monster, rank 7, 2300 attack, 2800 defense, and it requires 2 level 7 Spellcaster type monsters to make it. So, basically exactly the same requirements as Ebon Illusion Magician. So, like, you either have the option of Ebon Illusion Magician or this, and Ebon Illusion Magician could easily be, like, considered the offensive option, and this is more of the defensive option. Now, its first effect is, while this card has an Exceeds material, you can activate quick play spell cards and trap cards from your hand during your opponent's turn, but you must attach 1 Exceeds material from this card to activate them. So, if you use this, if you make this with 2 materials, you can potentially activate 2 either quick play spell or trap cards during your opponent's turn. Now, my issue with this is, what would you be activating that you couldn't have just had during your hand and set anyway? That's my question here. If I haven't read any of the Magician support in a really long time, so I can't remember if there's one that triggers on, like, your opponent's turn to add something to hand, something like that, so that you can, like, search traps like Magician Navigate and stuff like that during their turn and then activate them because you had this on board. I'm not sure if that actually exists or not. I haven't brushed up on the support in a long time because honestly I don't feel like I need to, like, waste my time looking into it when I'm trying to prepare for YCS Origins and Nationals, stuff like that. But yeah, I don't think this effect is, like, honestly what the best part of this card is, really. But it is actually something that can come up, and it did come up in the area of gameplay that I played. And where it came up was that I had a Twin Twister. My opponent knew I had a Twin Twister because of some weird reason. I think I dualitied for it. I dualitied for Twin Twister and set it. And so they made this, and then proceeded to only leave up, like, Dark Magic Circle, and then activated their cards from hand. And I thought that was really neat. But yeah, I don't think that's what makes this card, actually relevant, but, like, I think that, it's warranting for the spot in the extra deck, because as I've already said, the Dark Magician extra deck, at least from, like, a first glance of what I think you could play in it, it seems very loose, because, like, you really just don't really make anything other than a couple handfuls of rank 7s, maybe. But its second effect is actually what I really like, and it's the, if this Succeed Summon card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, or this card you control is sent to your graveyard by an opponent's card effect. You can special summon 1 Dark Spellcaster type monster from your hand or deck. Then you can destroy 1 card on the field. I really like this. I really like boss monsters that are also floaters, but in the essence of they are fair floaters. There's actually a condition that has to be met, and the card itself isn't that oppressive. So, like, I wouldn't, like, say that I like a card like Dark Destroyer, because that card is very oppressive. It pops a card when it enters the playing field, and then floats up or down, depending on what the rest of your, like, resource pool was. But this, it destroys a card when it leaves the field if it met its current condition. Like, this is more of a card like Beatrice, where it just, like, can be a potential engine piece, can be a trap that you can summon instead of having to commit them to the board. My eye is going absolutely insane because my contact is rolling around, and I cannot handle this right now. Jesus Christ. But I do really like this. The fact that this is actually a floater, it can summon any dark spellcaster, so you can actually, like, have it die, and then it can bring out, like, Magician of Black or whatever. The effect one that turns into Dark Magician. And then Dark Magic Circle could activate, which then leads to that Dark Magician card triggering, like, I think it's Magician of Black Magic. Is that his name? I can't remember. I literally haven't read these cards in about a month and a half, so I'm not overly familiar with their names. But, like, I just wanted to talk about this card because this card seems really cool in the aspect that it is a defensive line you can summon. It allows you to play around certain, like, play options. It allows you to play around Denko. That's actually an option. Because, like, I don't know if it's just my testing, but Denko seems to do a lot against the Dark Magician deck. Because you just plop a Denko down, and they're like, oh, look, I can't activate Magician's Navigate. I can't do my circle plays, can't do any of this, because the Dark Magician deck's biggest strength is the amount of plays that it can do, the amount of manipulation it can do on your opponent's turn. And, like, cards like Denko and stuff like that just shut that down. So this card allows you to, like, play around that, still be able to activate your cards in that sort of manner. So I think this is warranting at least a 1-of spot in the extra deck, but like I've said already multiple times, the extra deck for this deck is really loose, so I don't know why you wouldn't play it. At least in my eyes, it's loose. I could just be missing something. There may be some next level build that, like, needs every single card in the extra deck to be something specific, something like that. But at the core of my understanding is just a deck that summons Dark Magicians over and over again, and then, you know, uses those to manipulate the board state on your opponent's side of the board. So there is that. But yeah, I want to know what you guys think about this card. I think this card's actually really cool. Its effects are relevant enough to come up, but I don't know if it's actually, like, really, really good. Now, in the situation that I know this card to exist in, the card was really, really good. But that just could be my own personal bias from the only game that I have ever seen this card be played in. But anyway, yeah, let me know what you guys think about this card in the comments down below. Other than that, as always, guys, like, comment, subscribe to all the nonsense you usually do. If you have a card or a suggestion of video you want me to make, leave it in the comments down below, or send a suggestion to my Facebook fan page in a message form. That would definitely be acceptable as well. But other than that, if you want to support me, clicking ads on my videos is the best way to do so. It helps out a ton. I can't express how much so it would be appreciated if you could do something like that. Take the few seconds out of your day to do so. But other than that, that's all for this video. And as always, guys, take care.